The money printing success is over. Literally is over. The borrowing against borrowing for success is over. I've never been a fan of bankers. I've never been a fan of debt. And I want to let you know that prosperity in America and other countries through these ideologies is coming to an end, and it's coming to an end very, very, very fast. Hey gang, this is Mike with myrealestatedojo.com, and these are just the way I see things. This is just my opinion as someone that's been an entrepreneur, someone that's been a real estate investor, and as a refugee to America, okay? So what do I mean? Borrowing against borrowing. Well, just a few days ago, I did a poll on my YouTube channel, and 75% of people thought that you can get rich in America by going negative, by going into debt, okay? And I understand about good debt and bad debt. I understand about getting into debt and creating positive cash flow. I truly understand that because I bought a lot of houses and I dealt and talked to a lot of potential sellers in the last crash. There were successful business owners, successful entrepreneurs, successful doctors. They had multi-million-dollar homes, and you know what? End of the day, the bankers took it all. So I've learned a lot of important things by talking to people that were a lot smarter than me, that had more success than me, but now they were going bankrupt. And I realized that, you know, getting into debt is dancing with the devil. And always, 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 it just doesn't make sense because debt creates an imbalance in the world, okay, in the universe, because nothing in the universe works that way. For example, if I want to be a farmer, I just can't say, well, give me the grain first, and then once I eat it, in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, I'll start plowing the ground, I'll start putting the seed, I'll start putting the irrigation, I'll start doing all this stuff, and then eventually I'll have the grain to eat. The world doesn't work like that. The universe doesn't work like that. So for our society to work like that, to go against natural law, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because the only thing that happens is when you get your harvest without putting the input, without putting the work in, is, you know, the problems we have today, right? You know, literally people have more stuff than they really need. Their garages are full, their storage facilities are full, they're paying all this money, they're working all the time, and you've seen what's happening with the consumption and with the debt, with, you know, all this crazy madness that's happening, okay? And, you know, mom has to work, dad has to work, and so on and so on and so on, okay? And part of that is because of the economy that we have that's set up to reward people to get into debt. For example, if you refinance your home, you don't have to pay taxes. But if you sell your home, you bought a home, you let's say fix it up, and now you made some money, you know, you did the right things, and you sell it, Uncle Sam is going to penalize you. But if you refinance it, get into more debt, then there's no penalty. So the whole system is based on debt production, okay? And there is, in my opinion, there's a reason for that, is because they don't want you to have time to think about stuff, because whenever you're in debt, debt means being negative, okay? Imagine there's a line here, and right in the center is zero, is neutral. You're not positive, you're not negative, and on the left right here is the red. You're negative, you're indebted, you know what I mean? You can be indebted $10, you can be indebted 10,000, 100,000, 100 million, billions, whatever, okay? Now, in our society, we reward people that get into debt. We worship them, right? You know, like you see this guru and he has all these apartments and he's like 90% indebted to them, or 80% indebted to them, or 98% indebted to them, or 60% indebted to them, or even 50% indebted to them. But we worship them. We don't realize that these guys are totally in the negative. Even if you add up all their equities and assets, when you add it up, it doesn't even hit the zero. Now in our society, that's cool, but the side effect is, you know, some of these wars we've seen, all these wars, all this consumption we've seen, you know, the poverty we've seen, you know, again, inflation because of all this consumption, you know, and even deterioration in our corporations. For example, corporations are more worried about profit margins than making a good product. Corporations are more worried about taking jobs away from Americans and deporting it to Asia, okay, to China, to whatever, because they, instead of making 30% profit, they get so greedy, they want to make 70%. And you can see it if you're talking about your phones, if you're talking about bikes. You know, I love to ride bikes. I got a bike right here. But like, you know, there's been so many companies that I bought from, top companies, A companies. You buy their stuff, you pay big money for, And the components, the stuff they use is they try to take as much shortcut as possible to increase their profits, even though they're making a killing in their profits. They're making 50%, 60% profit margins, and this is ridiculous, right? But the whole idea of borrowing against money, success by debt is mind-boggling, and it's brought us to this condition right here where we're going to be losing our world reserve currency, in my opinion, because the more we print money, the more we consume, we're causing massive inflation, hyperinflation in other countries, because if it's inflated here and we're the world reserve currency, over there it's even more, dude. Because they need a lot more of their currency to buy $1, and then when they turn that energy into $1, now it's getting diluted, so they need more dollars. So they got to work 2 or 3 times harder to get that many of their rupees or rubies or what currency they have to transfer into US dollars. So it's a dog eat dog world, even though we're getting affected. But I think this time is different, because we're in major conflicts with two of the world's natural resource provider and the manufacturer of the world. Not only for America, for Asia, for the world, dude. I'm saying for the world, okay? And we're quickly going to realize that the side effects of two things: not having cheap products at Walmart, at Target, okay, or even not even having medium level products or even high end products, because they're manufacturing there. I don't care if you're talking about your pharmaceutical pills. I don't care if you're talking about your bicycle. I don't care if you're talking about your phone, your clothes. Ladies and gentlemen, pretty much everything's being outsourced to other countries, okay? Corporate America has been so greedy that they're giving the jobs to other people, and these are the side effects. And because of easy money, low interest rate, printing of money, weaponizing the dollar, and these types of things, we've had life good, but the party's coming to an end, and that's what in my opinion, that's why I'm trying to do this video about it, is that this success, you have so many people successful because of debt over debt. Now, there's a very small group of people in America that are successful through creation of creativity, imagination, right? But there are a massive amount of people that are successful because they're leveraged out to the moon, to the gazoos, right? The truth of the fact is that if you took everyone's car away that wasn't paid off, you would see over 60% of the population, and probably more, walking because they don't even own their cars. They're making payments on it. Okay, so but I think this era is ending because, again, natural resource conflicts, production of goods conflict, and that's going to affect us the hardest in America, because we're a nation of consumers, and we're not a nation. We're a nation of consumers, and at the same time, we decreased our production capacity and abilities. So it's going to be very, very, very tough for a lot of people, including myself and so many people. I'm not going to even lie to you, because what's going to be coming. Think about the laws they're passing now, Inflation Reduction Act. I mean, just telling you what's coming, in my opinion. And I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a genie or any of that stuff. But just studying history, right? Just looking at what happened in Rome, looking at what happened in the Persian Empire, looking what happened just 100 years ago, right, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just in our own history, you can quickly see where we're heading to, right? And this time is even worse than ever because of all the printing of money and all the bailouts and zombie companies that shouldn't even be existing, and all the red tape, because it's harder and harder for the small guy to be in business. I don't know if you realize, like, in the last 2 years in the Bug 19, they shut down a lot of small businesses, okay? So, it's only going to be big guys, and they're gonna sell your information like Amazon is already. Google is already going to sell your information to the highest bidder. And things, I think, are going to get pretty ugly here. Unfortunately, I don't want it to. I want prosperity, but I don't see anyone making the changes that's required. I mean, I'm not waiting for Big Brother to make changes, but just the people. As times get hard, you can see right now. This is not my statistics. Google this on TV. They're talking about people using their credit cards more and more and more. Okay, well, who are the primary beneficiaries? Like, Did you know that Visa and MasterCard, they made the most amount of money recently than they ever made? I mean, you know, like they're just making money left and right. They're making money on the debt production. They're making money on the network. They're making money on every direction from the seller to the buyer. And so this is the system of Big Brother central bankers picking winners, printing too much money, spending more than we make, constantly causing wars, constantly causing conflicts around the world. You know, listening to the lobbyists. You know, the companies that make all the weapons, buying these companies, these corporations, buying these congressmen, congresswomen through campaign contributions. You know that everyone, anyone. I mean, that's the humanity. If I help you open the door for you, you're probably going to open the door for someone else or something. And that's how it is. If I give you $10 million, you're probably going to vote in my favor if you were the congressperson. That's probably how it worked, right? Just human nature. So these things should not be, there, but they are. The bankers should not have fractional reserve lending where, I give them $100, they can lend out now $1,000 out of it, and they only got at that $100, only keep $10 of it as a reserve. These things all lead into what's coming. What's coming is should have happened in the last real estate crash, right? The 2006, 2008, but it didn't. These people are stopping the interest rates, they're controlling the markets, they're controlling the booms and the busts. But this time is different, in my opinion, because they're not going to be able to control the raw resources, because what we control in America is the level 2. We don't control the level 1. The level 1 is the actual rice, the actual wheat, the actual oil, the actual resources, okay? The ability to produce stuff, right? And we don't control that. We do control the pipelines for the Swiss systems and stuff like that, but we will quickly realize that we can't eat with that, right? The natural resources is what we need. I mean, I think that Europe is quickly going to realize that, the ancients are now waking out when winter comes, when, their people are going to be, cold. I remember, like, was it last winter or winter before that? I was in Texas, and the lights went out, dude. And I prepped, but I didn't prep for cold weather because where I live, it never gets cold like that, and it did get cold like that, and it threw me off, and I didn't have the right stuff, and man, it was tough, right? And we didn't have lights for days, and so I really learned something about that. The importance of prepping for all conditionings, not just one condition or what I perceive, right? But that's a different story. But I just think that money printing, success, borrowing gets money, those times are over. And a lot of these people are going to get extremely hurt, dude. They're going to get extremely hurt because they borrowed something that wasn't even theirs. The banker that lent it to them didn't even have it. And so it's just that Ponzi scheme. I don't know what to say. It's just something that's not there. It's a virtual nothingness. It's a virtual nothingness of pitness, of darkness. And that's what it is. I mean, every loan is just something on top of something else that doesn't even exist, and another one on top of something else doesn't exist, and that's what the futures are, and the stock markets, and so on and so on. And just my opinion, and I think that the cards are going to fall down no matter what the Fed does, what the central bankers do, and that's why we're going into war. I mean, WAR 3. That's why we're heading that way, because people in control effed up, dude. And now we got to go pay blood for this F up because, too much debt, like we're losing credibility, and so on and so on, okay? That's just my opinion. I'm looking at history, and I think, like we're very close to a failing nation, just in the raw production of money, just in the raw production of outsourcing our workers, factories to other countries, not in America. I mean, just add it all up, man. The inflation, you got 10% interest rate. So, let's say you just had, $100 or $1,000 or whatever you had, $1 million, $100 million, whatever. In just 10 years, that whole money will be gone, right? Just because the first year is just 10%. So it's like 9 more years, that whole money will be gone in a sense of buying power. Now, when you look on your online banking, that money will be like that amount, but you can't buy diddly dude, a lot less with that, all right? So anyways, guys, thank you for leaving the comment. Thank you for clicking the like button. If you have any questions, comment, leave it below. If you're interested in real estate, I'd love to work with you. Go check me out at myrealestatedojo.com. If you're looking for the best side hustle, then check out the new flip. I include free coaching for everyone that downloads my book. Thank you so much. Peace.
Real quick, download my free book, Real Estate Investing for Beginners, the ultimate starter guide at myrealestatedojo.com, where I teach you how to find motivated sellers, buy their homes at a deep discount, and then have the seller become your own private bank. Subject to, get it now. One more thing, if you're looking for private one-on-one help when it comes to real estate investing, then consider joining my academy where you sit down with me one-on-one. 2, you get monthly coaching. 3, you get access to my best-selling courses. 4, you get access to my video library, and then the list goes on for just $97 a month. Join me now at mrnofluff.com. Lastly, the best six-figure side hustle, bicycle flipping. Want to see how? Here's a behind-the-scene video how I did it. Go to thebestsidehustle.mrnofluff.com. Now let's get back to the content.